I'm Amy Scott. I'm the mental health therapist here at EICS. So today, what we're going to talk about is sometimes it's hard to tell when a child is having a tantrum or having a meltdown. And lots of times a tantrum is something that can be expected with kids. We talk about the terrible 2s and 3s. Often starts around that time. Often happens when they're told no. If we're trying to get them to do something they don't want to do or they can't do what they want to do. Lots of times when we are given tasks that we feel like are too hard for us to do or we're afraid of disappointing someone with, that's oftentimes when we'll shut down or have a tantrum. And so, especially children, because lots of times they'll want to please you by doing what you ask, but if they don't have the confidence to do it, they may act out. They may throw the tantrum, refuse to do it. And instead of looking at that as just them being bad and just trying to throw a fit, we need to take into consideration if they're afraid that they're going to actually upset you. Later on, we're going to have some examples of what a tantrum looks like versus what a meltdown looks like. With a meltdown, oftentimes there may be some mental health issues going on that can make the meltdown a little bit worse than a tantrum. So it's good to be able to distinguish the difference. The differences in the tantrum and the meltdown is one is the child watching for your reaction. If they're consciously looking to how you respond to what they're doing, they're paying too much attention to you for it to be a meltdown. Is the child considering their own safety? If a child is hitting things or throwing things around and can actually hurt themselves, and it seems like it doesn't matter, oftentimes that's a meltdown. They're so emotional that they don't really have control over what's going on. So that is another thing you can look at. Is the child in control of their own behavior? And that goes back to being so emotional that they don't have control over that. Is the child making an effort to communicate their needs? By the time they hit a meltdown, it's beyond trying to communicate effectively. If a child is still trying to get their way or trying to tell you what they're wanting, then they're still having a tantrum, and they can shift gears, or the behavior can change pretty quick. In a meltdown, it won't shift that quick, which leads us to the last one. Is the child able to calm down once the situation has been resolved? If the child gets their way, often with a tantrum, it'll stop immediately. If it's gone into a meltdown, they can't just stop. They're so upset and emotional that it can continue for hours. But being able to distinguish the difference can be very helpful in determining that.
My name is Sandra Pace, and I work at EICS. And I just wanted to give you an overview again of what a tantrum versus a meltdown is. A tantrum, a child will be looking for your attention. Example of a tantrum. Because I'm looking at mom, dad, or guardian. I'm making sure you see what I do. Versus meltdown. Because I don't care if you're watching. Know when kids do things to tell the difference. Some things are age appropriate and some things are not. When a child's actively seeking your attention, they're going to make sure you see it. When they're having a meltdown, they don't care if you're watching.